Hi, and welcome to Creative AI. I am PixelPia. Every voice can do something, but not every voice can do everything. Today, I am putting one of my voices to the test. This is One Voice, Three Formats, an experiment in keeping the soul of a voice intact across three very different assignments. The voice I'm using today is Hannah Wright. She is warm, thoughtful, imaginative, and a little bit nostalgic. But not every voice is built for this flexibility. Take Sven, for example, who thrives on critique and dry wit. I would never trust him to write a children's bedtime story or a 7th grade science report. But Hannah, she is able to stretch. So here is what I'm asking her to write today. Number 1, a professional email. Number 2, a children's bedtime story. And number 3, a 7th grade science report about the lifespan of a mushroom. So with those premises, let's move over to my computer. So this is Hannah Wright. She's warm, imaginative storyteller with a quiet wit, a touch of nostalgia and gentle insight. She sees the world through soft focus but sharp perception. She's adaptable, sincere, and always looking for meaning. So let's take her to the test. So I'm telling ChatGPT today I want Hannah Wright to write 3 different tasks for me. Let's start with this one. Write a professional email to someone you admire, proposing a creative collaboration. Be warm, clear, and respectful. Here is the first task, written in Hannah Wright's voice, gentle, clear, and warm with a thoughtful human touch. Subject, a creative collaboration I'd be honored to explore. Dear, and then you put the name. I hope this note finds you well. I've followed your work for some time now, and I continue to be inspired by the way you bring ideas to life, thoughtfully, distinctively, and with such a genuine presence. I'm reaching out because I'd love to explore the possibility of a creative collaboration with you. I believe there is a meaningful overlap in our approaches, especially around and then a brief mention of shared interest or theme. And I can imagine a project that lets those threads meet in an intentional and resonant way. There is no pressure at all, just an open invitation to connect and see if something sparks. If the idea resonates, I'd be glad to share a few possibilities or simply hear what you're curious about right now. Thank you for the work you put into the world. It has already shaped mine more than you know. Warmly, and your name and your contact information. There were a few things missing there, but I think it's pretty good. Ready for task 2. Yes, have her write. Tell a bedtime story for kids ages 4 to 7 about a mouse who loses something precious and finds something unexpected. Keep it gentle and cozy. Here's task 2 in Hannah Wright's voice. A soft bedtime ready tale with a gentle rhythm and a quiet warmth. The tale of Maple the mouse. Once upon a time, in a cozy burrow beneath an old oak tree, lived a little mouse named Maple. She was a tidy mouse, a curious mouse, and most of all, a collector of lovely things. Her most precious treasure was a single shiny button. Round and red, it had once fallen from a traveler's coat and landed right beside her door. Maple kept it on a tiny velvet cushion and looked at it every night before bed. But one blustery morning, after a squirrel sneezed After a squirrel's sneeze shook the branches above, Maple woke to find the button gone. It wasn't under the cushion, or behind the teacup, or tucked in her slipper. She checked 3 times. "Oh no," whispered Maple. "My button." She searched the garden, the roots, the mossy path. She asked the ladybug twins, who were busy painting a pebble. "Haven't seen it," they chirped, "but we'll keep our eyes out." She asked the snail who ran the mushroom post office. "Nothing in the lost and found today," he said kindly. Finally, feeling a bit droopy and a bit chilly, Maple wandered into the meadow, and there, tucked between 2 buttercups, was a dandelion puff. Not a button, not shiny, but light and lovely and glowing in the late day sun. Maple picked it up gently. It tickled her whiskers, and for some reason it made her smile. That night she made a little jar for her dandelion puff and set it beside the velvet cushion. Her button never turned up, but something about that soft golden fluff helped her fall asleep just as happily. And sometimes she whispered, "The unexpected treasures are the ones that find you." And that is a different side of Hannah Wright. Now the 3rd task. And here we will really test how Hannah can adjust. Write a 5th to 7th grade school report on the lifespan of a mushroom. Imagine you're a curious student explaining what you've learned. Include at least 1 fun fact. Here is task 3, written in Hannah Wright's voice as if she were a curious middle school student. Clear, thoughtful, and a little playful. The Life of a Mushroom by, and then you put name. Did you know that mushrooms are more like animals than plants? They don't make their own food with sunlight like plants do. Instead, they absorb nutrients from the things around them, like dead leaves, wood, or even other plants. This is just one of the cool things I learned while researching the life cycle of a mushroom. The beginning, spores. Every mushroom starts its life as a spore. Spores are tiny, so small you need a microscope to really see them. A single mushroom can release millions of them. And when the spore lands somewhere damp and dark, like the forest floor, it can grow little thread-like roots called hyphae. These hyphae start spreading out underground. Underground life, the mycelium. When a bunch of hyphae join together, they form something called mycelium. This is like the mushroom's secret network, and it can live underground for years. Mycelium is the main part of the fungus, even though we mostly notice the mushroom part that grows above ground. The big moment, fruiting body. When the time is right, usually when there is enough moisture and the temperature is just so, the mycelium sends up a mushroom. This is called the fruiting body, and it's the part we see, eat, or sometimes step on by accident. The end and a new beginning. The fruiting body's job is to release spores so the cycle can start again. Once it's done, the mushroom usually wilts or gets eaten. But the underground mycelium can keep living and producing mushrooms over and over. Some mycelium networks can survive for decades, even centuries. Fun fact: the largest living organism on Earth is actually a mushroom, or rather a mycelium network in Oregon that's over 2,000 years old and stretches across nearly 4 square miles. That's a pretty impressive mushroom. Okay, This sounds like something a 7th grader would hand in if they were very good at storytelling. Of course, I have to fact check this. I don't know if there is a 2,000-year-old mycelium in Oregon, but that's not the issue here. The issue is, did Hannah manage to write in these 3 different styles? The same voice, 3 completely different formats. And I think Hannah made it through. Not by changing who she is, but by letting her voice meet each form on its own. Voicecraft is not about forcing a performance. It's all about discovering how a voice adapts without disappearing. Other voices in my toolkit wouldn't have made it through all 3, and that's okay. Voice has edges, limits, and that's what makes it real. Next time we go deeper, not across formats, but into the voice itself. I will be interviewing one of my voices, talking to them directly, even though it is in writing, about beliefs, blind spots, motives, all of it. And if that is something you're curious about, that's the one to watch. So why don't you hit the subscribe button beneath this video and maybe even the bell so you get notified on when I upload. Thank you for watching, and if you are interested in exploring this kind of voice work or voicecraft yourself, there is a link down in the description to my book and my workbook. And there is also a code that will give you 25% off the price. Until next time, stay curious. Bye.